Blog Talk Radio. Another episode of Tarot Today Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever and whenever you're listening to us across the entire globe. For the past 12 years, we've been bringing you the world of tarot. This is the official broadcast of the Tarot Guild, the international organization for tarot lovers, students, and professional readers since 2004, with the world's only full-featured tarot social media networking platform, thetarotguild.com. I'm your host, Dax Carlisle, coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona. And joining me is my fabulous co-host. She is the Vice President of the Tarot Guild, Director of Communications, a professional tarot reader, and crystal Reiki master. And here she is live from Amarillo, Texas, the one, the only, Mary Brown. Happy Saturday, Mary.
Hey, Dax. Happy Psychic Saturday, everybody. How's it going?
Here we are again, our favorite day of the week because we get to hang out with you guys, and got my coffee going and
Java.
Oh, yeah. We got a great show for you today. We got a special guest coming on, and we're going to take your calls a little later in the show as well. So you can dial in and get your spot right now, 714-816-4628. As soon as you dial in, press 1 on your dial pad. That'll put you into the caller queue so that we know that you want to be live on air with us, and we'll be taking your calls. It's open lines. You can talk about anything you'd like. You can ask for a mini reading live on air. That'll be a little later in the show, but the caller lines fill up pretty quickly, so you want to get your spot now. Once again, that's 714-816-4628. You can also join us in the chat room on the Tarot Guild website, thetarotguild.com/chat. And if you're already on the website, just look for chat at the top of your page there in the navigation. If you're on a phone or pad, you might have to hit the hamburger icon there and get the navigation open and click chat, right? The easy way is just open a new tab in your browser, type in thetarotguild.com/chat. You'll be able to chat with us live during the show. You can even ask for a mini reading right from the chat room as well, thetarotguild.com/chat. But, of course, we would rather chat with you live on air, 714-816-4628. What's going on, Mary? You just had a fantastic live Zoom discussion with the one, the only Rasuli.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, I did that on Saturday, last Saturday, and you can find the replay of that, the video, on the Tarot Guild website, and it's in my column for this month, Unveiled with Mary Brown, and it was phenomenal. He was like one of my very favorite artists, doing oracle decks and just arting today. But it was phenomenal. He's so mystical, and he's so just amazing. I'm still like floating on air, and I've been taking his workshop, and just came from that this morning too. So I'm floating even more.
Mary's all
fun,
painting now and everything.
I know. I'm like suddenly painting.
I feel some oracle and tarot decks coming on. I just do. You know, it was fabulous listening to, you know, just hearing him talk.
Yeah. He was just amazing, and it was so funny because, you know, I usually just write the column. I do like a Q&A with somebody, and, you know, just print. And he just, like, from the first moment, like, turned it on its head. He's like, these are very profound questions. Why don't we do a live discussion where I don't know what any of the questions are? And I'm like, yeah, oh, good, okay,
wow,
let's do that. I'm like, oh my God,
it's pretty amazing.
Like,
I've never done it that way, but you know, but it's amazing, you know, like that the guest actually would, you know, the person being interviewed would actually suggest that, you know, because a lot of times they don't want to do that. They'd rather do print. So it's pretty nifty. It really is. Oh, I noticed that you had a card of the day, and it was one of the cards from one of his decks.
Yes, the card of the day, and I posted this in the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. If you haven't joined that yet, we have a page and a group. Like the page, join the group, join the conversation, and you can find that by going to net/Facebook. And the card of the day is by Rasuli from his new Great Eastern Oracle, just fresh out from Blue Angel Publishing. And the message on this card, I just love it, and it's so Rasuli, is it move beyond your limits, reach higher for your spirit. And it's just this beautiful card that really is about, you know, those times when, you know, you had an idea, you had a great idea or creative idea, and you were like, I can't do it because of this, you know, I don't have the time to do it, I don't have the money to do it, I don't, you know, whatever, you know, we place those limits and then we never follow through. And this is encouraging us to move beyond that because, you know, and see those limitations as opportunities rather than liabilities. You know, get creative. How can you go around, you know, what feels like a block or a barricade and create something new and maybe dig a little deeper. So, and there's a mantra that comes with it. I am not limited by a shortage of anything. There are unlimited things that I can do with my life. And so this weekend, if we can kind of like just work with that mantra of there's unlimited things I can do with my life, you know, see what happens. Just try it. But that, again, is the card of the day.
Awesome. And before we bring our guest on, just real quickly, the caller lines are lighting up like a Christmas tree here. We're going to get to calls a little later in the show, and make sure you stay right there, folks, because if you hang up and dial back in, you're going to lose your spot in the caller queue. We take the calls in the order that they came in. So jump in there now and get your spot at 714-816-4628. I did want to mention we do have a workshop coming up tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern with Gary Karp, how tarot readers can make a difference in the world and make money doing it. So you want to join us for that. You'll find it right there on the main page of the Tarot Guild website. Just look for the banner with Gary's picture. Just click on that, and you can find out how you can join us on the live Zoom. That's right. And did want to mention, if you want to get a hold of Mary or I, in between shows, you know, you can just go to Mary's page at mary.thetarotguild.com, and my page is dax.thetarotguild.com. Really simple if you want to book a private session with us or something like that. So, Mary, let us know about our fabulous guest today. We'll bring her on.
Okay, yes. Well, I'm really excited about this. We've got Ana Tourian on today. She's an artist, illustrator, art director. She's a creator of multiple decks that have gained so much attention. I mean, I was hearing about her work before I'd even seen a deck in person, you know. and then when her Tarot the Abyss came out, I just jumped It is just gorgeous, and I'm using it today. But she's also, you might know her from the Hidden Waters Tarot, Oracle of Echoes, Claire de Lune, Lenormand, and she did the illustrations for the, Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot, which I feel like has got to be one of the hottest decks in like a long time. It's just like it's got this sizzle to it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and give Ana Tourian a big Tarot Today Radio welcome and bring her on.
Yay, Anna! Welcome to Tarot Today Radio.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Dax. Thank you for having me.
We're so glad. Oh, I'm so thrilled that you could be here and join us. And wow, like I said, I'm using the Tarot of the Abyss. I've been using it since I got the deck. It's kind of like, it's a deck you can't put down. It's kind of a funny thing. And, it just, gosh, how did your work as an artist, which is just, what we see in the oracles and tarot that you've done, so gorgeous. And how did that bring you to doing oracles and tarot decks? Like how did that connect? How did doing art connect with doing divination decks, basically?
Well, so I've been a reader for a long time, and I never thought of actually making a deck till, like 2015. So I've been reading since I was probably like 12, 13. I was reading just regular playing cards, so doing cartomancy, and then I learned the tarot in my 20s. So, it's just in 2015, because I was getting back into tarot, I had like a period where I was working in corporate advertising, and I really didn't have time to do any personal paintings or work or tarot. So what happened was I had my first child, my daughter, and I stayed home with her. And during that time, I started reading tarot again. And I decided initially to explore a tarot deck that was abstract, primarily because I just had this idea that, the information that gets downloaded while you're reading tarot is not just from a book. It's it's also intuition and how you kind of read the cards. And I wanted to explore that concept, so I created the Hidden Waters Tarot, which is an abstract deck based on Rorschach images, and they all have titles, but it was mostly just to remove the traditional Rider-Waite or just have the traditional images, and to see if you could read just by looking in something abstract and accessing your subconscious. So that was the first deck I did. And it was mostly done for me. But then when I created a website for it, just to show in general, not necessarily to sell, people were interested in that. And so I had to find a way to print it. And I did. And following that deck, I created actually, both of them were created in the same year. So the Oracle of Echoes and the Claire de Lune Lenormand were created in the same year.
Wow.
But the Oracle of Echoes, so I went from totally abstract, which was the Hidden Waters Tarot, to more painterly, less abstract, which was the Oracle of Echoes. And the Oracle of Echoes I created with the help of the tarot community and oracle community. I put out a call to action on my Instagram, and I asked people what they were interested to see and in an oracle deck, because at the time, a lot of the oracle decks had mostly only positive cards. And I wanted to incorporate a little bit of shadow elements to it. So I just asked, like, what cards would you like to see? And people just came in. It's like, I want to see inner like inner work stuff, like depression, fear, like the cards that kind of make you a little scary, right? Or make you think. So that's how the Oracle of Echoes came about. And that deck took about 2 months to make, and it was printed the same year in 2016. And it was a 50-card deck, 50 cards. And the Clair de Lune Lenormand was a step tighter images, right? So it was mostly like almost pen and ink. It was on a dark background. It had 36 cards because it's Lenormand, but it was Clair de Lune Lenormand because it was under the moonlight Lenormand. So it was like everything was drawn to look like it's under the moon with yellow and blue colors. And so that also came out that year. So I kind of did everything in 1 year. I self-printed, so I did, self-publish. And people were very positive with the decks. Some people couldn't really connect with the hidden waters. That's normal. You have some people resonate with one deck and not with the other. So following that, at the end of 2016, I started drawing a Tarot of the Abyss. So the progression was from totally abstract to going in and very fine detail, right? So I started working on Tarot of the Abyss. I usually start with a major arcana, and that year I got signed on to illustrate the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot with Avalon Cameron. She's the creator. And so I had to put Tarot of the Abyss on hold while I was creating that deck. And I came back to Tarot of the Abyss once that deck was finished in terms of the drawing and everything for that. So that's kind of in a nutshell what those decks were.
So you work fast. I mean, wow. That's a lot to do in a year. That's amazing.
Well,
is it just a flow of ideas?
It was a flow of ideas, but at the same time, like, the Oracle was easier to create because usually, like, if you're working on your own decks and you're not hired by somebody, right? So you're coming up with all the images. You have to come up with the list of cards that, if you were talking an oracle, right, you have to come up with the list of cards that you want. And I had help in that sense because people were like, why don't you make a card for a gift? Why don't you make a card for this? So I would write down and then I would go and paint them. And since the oracle was more, it wasn't abstract, but it's more, painterly, it's not pen and ink. Pen and ink is extremely detailed, so it's a different medium. So I think the medium and the technique that you work in tends to kind of dictate whether it's going to be a quicker versus slower creation process. And the Bonestone, for instance, was much more detailed. Actually, the most detailed was Tarot of the Abyss because it's all pen and ink, very detailed.
Yeah.
And that took a long time to create. Since I was coming up with the images and drawing them and all that. And then the Bonestone is a combination of watercolor and pen and ink. So that was also, much more time consuming, but at the same time, Avalon would come up and say, I want this image, I want this image. So, in that sense, it's easier when the creator already knows what they want and you just kind of have to brainstorm a way of presenting that and illustrating it. It's harder when you have to do everything by yourself, creatively speaking, right?
Right.
So, yes, it's fast, and I do have 2 children, and at the time they were little kids. They were, much smaller than they are now, so I would work at night. I would work from like 10 to 2, 3 a.m. So, yeah.
Wow.
Those couple of years were a blur right now. Looking back.
Right. You were in a different space to create all of that. I'm so amazed by just the concepts for a lot of for the cards, really, just like all of them in the Tarot of the Abyss. A lot of times what we see is a clone, a clone of the Rider-Waite. Maybe it's a clone with unicorns. Maybe it's a clone with cats. A lot of clones with cats,
Yeah.
But you didn't do that. At least in Tarot of the Abyss, it's like totally fresh ideas that really, literally illustrate in some way the meaning of the card. I mean, I'm looking at your 10 of Pentacles with the 2 hands, and the hands look like they have, almost like tattoos on them, kind of, that it's like you're seeing inside the hands, and there's a family and a staircase, and just that beautiful detail in it.
Thank you.
Were these ideas you had in your head, maybe about those cards? Did you have an idea about the 10 of Pentacles before you started working, or does your imagination kind of come alive when you got the instruments in your hand?
No, I usually go card by card. So I go card by card, and since I do read tarot, I'm going based on how my interpretation and how I read. So I usually will kind of do keywords, what does the 10 of Pentacles mean? It's a legacy and, family. So I would say, okay, how do you do that? How would you pass down a legacy? And then I would think, okay, well, family, older generation, younger generation. So then the idea kind of works. It comes into my mind when I think about that. So usually it just goes card by card. I know some people will jump when they create, from the cups to the swords to the pentacles. I kind of go suit by suit. And it's mostly, when I work on a card, I just think of that card. So when I'm done with that, I will write down I'll go for a walk and I'll have an idea, and then I'll write it down. And once the idea is formed, I'll then sketch it out, and then I'll start working on that card. And then once that one is done, then I move to the next. I don't really scatter myself. I do try to, there's thousands of decks out there, and the tricky part is to not do something that somebody else did, which is actually very harder than people think, because especially with tarot, with Oracle, you're less likely to do that because there's no specific meaning to each card. But with tarot, it's tricky because each card means something, and then you have so many decks out there that it's bound to happen where you come up with the same idea somebody else did. And then you have to be, you have to kind of scout and make sure that you're not doing the same thing. And sometimes you end up doing the same thing, and then you have to change the card, and you have to do something else.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing that's funny to me, and I collect tarot decks. It just ends up happening, right? But it's you look at all the decks that are out there now, and there's thousands and thousands on the market. But what really gets me is when you look what was out there 10 years ago, what came out in the 90s, what came out in the 80s. And there's like all these decks that it feels like, you know, it's endless. It's endless. So I totally get what you're saying, you know, that it's hard to, you know, create something new in the world when everybody's using the same system, you know, and they've got,
right, yeah,
you know, kind of not the same, you know, not the same meanings. It's not like the meanings are, yeah, I think the meanings are dynamic and it definitely are affected, you know, through the decades as well, but still, we've got that same essential thing that we've had since the 1400s, you know.
Exactly, yeah. So, like, if you're doing a two of pentacles and you're thinking juggling, there's so many images of jugglers that you have to be careful to not do the same, you know, angle, the same face. So, yeah, it's tricky.
Well, you did something. I just think it's unique. I really do. And one aspect of the Tarot of the Abyss that really I was fascinated with was that this is an 80-card deck because you've taken two of the cards, the Three of Swords and the Ten of Swords, you know, cards that, you know, can really trigger people sometimes, right? And you did alternative versions of them. And can you kind of talk about, like, why you wanted to do that, why those cards, and just kind of what the alternates mean?
Well, because, you know, the Three and Ten of Swords, you know, also the Tower and I guess the Death card, those are the cards that people tend to get very nervous about getting in a reading, especially if they're just starting out, right?
Yeah.
But the 3 and the 10 especially, you know, because Three of Swords, heartbreak and all that, so nobody wants that card. But at the same time, I learned as I was creating the deck, there's a tarot reader. Her name is Kelly Fitzgerald, and she is on YouTube on the Truth and Story channel.
Oh, yeah.
She actually reads tarot a little different, like numerologically, instead of basing it on the Rider-Waite system, totally on the Rider-Waite system. And I was intrigued. I'm like, what do you mean? You know, what? It's like, oh, you know, it's hard because you can read the Rider-Waite system, but if it's just those two cards, people see, you know, it's a negative aspect, and I don't read it that way. And I was like, well, how do you read it? And it was like numerologically, and that interested me in terms of, you know, seeing the Three of Swords instead of heartbreak, progression of knowledge, of gaining knowledge, and the Ten of Swords instead of, you know, being totally broken down, you'd actually have this epitome of gain of knowledge and by wisdom and all that. So I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Why don't I do that? I'm going to just do two alternative cards for people that either read this way or would like to read this way, because you do have all the heartbreak elements in the Suit of Cups. You know, you have heartbreak in the Suit of Cups. You don't really need heartbreak again in the Suit of Swords, since it's mind and it's oriented.
How much do we need?
Right. Like, I mean, if you're going to get the cards are pretty clear. So if you're going to go through a period of heartbreak and loss, there's a different, you know, the cards will combine and in a spread to show that, you know. And I think that, you know, just giving that opportunity to read a little bit differently wouldn't hurt anybody, you know. So if anything, it would make it richer in terms of possibilities. So that's how those two cards came in the deck.
They're great. You know, it's funny because, I mean, there's some other deck creators that have, you know, added extra cards to the deck. Usually, you know, like they'll add like a happy squirrel card, or, you know, just, you know, maybe they'll want to put in something else, or, you know, like one that's like kind of like a blank that's supposed to function as a mirror. where it's like you draw that card. It's like, take a look at yourself, look within. And it's funny because I've been using the deck with those 2 extra cards because I do feel like it really adds something to it. And it's funny because I'm usually pretty much a stickler. Like, I want my tarot, like I like my coffee, well, that's not true. I drink lattes instead, but, I just love that you did that. And what you're saying about numerology, I mean, you couldn't say it at a better place. I mean, Dax has a whole course that he offers, Tarot by the Numbers. It's like just teaching it using numerology. Yeah.
Awesome. And I didn't take them out of the deck. I didn't change the Rider-Waite. So I didn't remove the traditional one. So I figured, if somebody wants to try this new way, they're welcome to. If not, you can just put those cards to the side. So, it just gives you a different option.
I love it. Because it's the only deck that I have that I use. I have like working decks versus like I can't work with this deck, or I've already worked too much with it and now it's falling apart decks. But it's the only one that I'm using currently that has extra cards in it, and it really really works. I get that alternative 3 of Swords all the time in reading. And
that's interesting.
It's weird. It's like I accepted it, these extra cards of yours, and like that one in particular has shown up a lot, in readings I've done for people, and it's so freeing. It's so freeing to have it there, because I understand the numerology part of it, but having like having the illustration that you did for that, really makes a difference, because otherwise, we're just thinking about it. 3 of Swords comes up in a reading for somebody and we're like, oh, okay, here we go. Like we try it, throw in an ounce of compassion and say, wow, this looks like we're dealing with a lot of, anguish, and you depending on the reading, right? But with that coming in, it's like, wow, it just opens it up so much. So thank you for that, because it's really literally made a difference, like for me lately and my clients to just have that option.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
Dax, Dax, we call him the numbers man because that's what he teaches.
We like the numbers.
And it's it's kind of cool that somebody took it to like the next level, because a lot of times, like Dax, with your course, it's you use the Rider-Waite, right? The radiant weight, I think.
Yep.
And like here's somebody like illustrating with those concepts. It's just brilliant. So, I was, just reading the guidebook that came along with the Tarot of the Abyss. I got the U.S. Games version, the mass-produced one. And, what I love is that you kind of like tell a story for every single card. And, part of it's like the illustration, but you go deeper into it. It seems like you're just a natural, artist. Like you're here to be an artist in the world, right? But was writing just another form of that for you, or, what was it like to write?
So I'm not a writer, but I tried. Art is my thing. So I had taken notes as I was creating the deck. I did take notes, because sometimes if you just go back and write after you've drawn everything, you kind of forget some things. So because it can sometimes take a long time to make a deck, right? So if it takes 2-3 years, if you have to go back to the first image you made, some of the essence of it is gone. So I wrote down a bunch of things as I was creating, and I kept my notes. So that was helpful. And I wrote the guidebook in a couple of months after finishing the illustrations. English is my second language, so I tend to write very different. I write long paragraphs, so I had my husband help me to edit it initially. He's good with that. He's a teacher, so he's good with that. But it wasn't easy in terms of, writing it. It was easy in the sense that I knew what I wanted to say. I knew what the images meant. And because I read tarot, I knew how to connect those two together, kind of. So in that way, it was easier.
Wow.
And I have a different system of reading because I kind of, in cardiomancy, at least how I learned it, you have to enchant the cards before you lay them out. So you speak to them. You have to kind of spell them and to connect to them and to the person that you're reading for. So I kind of incorporated that there's a section in the guidebook where it talks about that a little bit. I know some people will cleanse them. You can do that. It's a similar thing, right? But I do it specifically to connect to them. So I enchant them before I read. So that's something that I added that normally you don't see in tarot.
Yeah, I love that because this is how I think of it. And you created the Abyss. I mean, right? You're a writer. I hate to tell you, but this is phenomenal. And the thing is, when you add that part like that personal, connection. This is how I do it. You have to think that, for this could be somebody's first deck, and all they know is they were attracted to it, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're just, they're learning, and maybe they're learning from you, and they're going to learn your way of doing it, and that's going to be their start. And so, you mentioned the word legacy earlier,
Yeah.
That's a beautiful legacy to leave. It matters so much. And I love the part where you share a bit about your life, growing up as a child in Romania, and your great aunt and reading her coffee grounds, and
right.
It seems like
a very interesting family.
Yeah, it's so beautiful though. It's like, wow. And then look at that big arc, and here you are with, I don't know if you know, but you're a very popular deck creator, lady. I see the comments people made. They're over the moon about it.
Oh, that's very nice. I try. I don't sometimes hit the mark. Sometimes I don't. Just like anybody else. I'm a person like anyone else, and but it's nice to know that people connect with the decks, and that they're helpful because that's their purpose. The whole reason why we make these decks is to help people with this tool, and because otherwise, what's the point, right? If people don't connect with them, what's the point?
Right.
They're not just paintings
cards
hanging on. Yeah, they're not just a painting, because otherwise you could just have them on the wall. But they're meant to do something. They're meant to talk to each other, right? So, I think that that is very important, and feedback from the community is important. You can't just live in a bubble. As an artist for this particular type of work, and I'm very grateful, and I'm happy that they're still connecting to folks, and the Abyss has had so far. It's had pretty good, it's done pretty well, and hopefully the next one will also.
Yeah, I think yes. I think yes. I mean, what was it? Oh, I think I was talking to. I forget who I was talking to. It was like, Tarot of the Abyss came out now. Tarot of the Abyss sold out now. I'm like, it was like 5 seconds ago. What happened? Like, yeah, it did very well. I imagine it's going to continue to do well for you. And so what is next for you? What are you working on?
So now I'm working on two things, actually. So I'm working on a deck for a French publisher with Claire Duval, and it's called Tarot Arthurian. So it's an Arthurian-based tarot. Yeah. It's going to be in French.
Oh, wow.
And it'll be published in France. Hopefully, if it gets picked up by a U.S. publisher, then it will be translated in English. But at this point, it's just going to be in French. So I am working on that. And at the same time, I'm working on the Tarot of Echoes, which is my tarot deck, which I will be publishing. Right now it's an indie deck, and I'm looking to finish that one by the end of this year, if I'm lucky.
Wow. So you've already got a full plate.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm very busy.
Well, it's good busy though. It's creative busy. That's always a good thing. It's much better than being busy with stuff
than not doing anything, right? Than being.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm lucky that way.
Yeah, you've got a lot to show for all those hours. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing, your story and your journey. And my goodness, we got to have you back on when you come out with your new stuff, because it's exciting.
Oh yeah,
I love the work that you're doing. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And yeah, definitely when the Tarot of Echoes will be done, hopefully we'll get to chat again.
That sounds fascinating. Tarot of Echoes.
Yes, it's the companion. It's the companion to Oracle of Echoes.
Cool.
Oh, that's so cool. Thanks much,
again, Ana.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was great. So
She's
Ana has
amazing.
left the building, folks.
Wow. I mean, her work is just, I didn't realize there was such a short, time span to produce so much. It's really prolific. It's amazing.
Right. I mean, I can't believe how prolific. I mean, wow.
It's
I mean,
so creative.
We think of people. Yeah. I mean, we think of people like Chiro and all, but they've been doing it for decades, and it seems like in a much shorter amount of time, Ana's gotten a lot of fantastic work out.
Mhm. It's really exciting,
And all the different mediums.
Tarot of the Abyss, everybody. Check it out, and we'll have Ana's link on the show page. I think we already do, and so you can find her work and keep up with what she's producing and creating and stuff, because you got to keep up with her. She's so prolific. I love it.
Yeah, I think the Tarot of the Abyss is my favorite so far out of all the ones that she's done.
Okay.
I think it's the detail, the level of detail.
Yeah, and to me, it's the detail, and it's just the imagination. Imagining these cards we're all so familiar with. New concepts to communicate their meaning. It's amazing.
Well, this is the time to get into that caller queue if you haven't already, 714-816-4628. Before we go to calls, do you want to let us know what's coming up on the network, Mary?
Yes. We have a great week coming up on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. Our next show is going to be tomorrow, April 24th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's the Magic Universe Show with your host, Sharona Rapsick, and she has a special guest on, Shonda Parkinson, and they're going to be talking about meditations for psychic development, plus also, free tarot readings as well. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Psychic development, meditations for them. I'm kind of interested to see what that's like. I'm going to tune in. And then on Monday, April 25th, it's the Wisdom of the Soul Show with your host, Janice Buse, at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and that will be followed at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, with Spiritual Guidance Radio with angelic channel and healer Kathleen Hahn. She's going to be giving free on-air guidance. And then Dax and I will be back next Saturday, April 30th. I can't believe April's already over. 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Back with the Tarot Today radio show. Open lines and readings all show long, and our psychic spin. So tune in for all of that. You can find all of our shows listed by going to psychictalk.net/upcoming. Back to you, Dax.
Yes, we have our live coming up on Tuesday, and Mary and I are just going to be hanging out in the Facebook group, the Tarot Guild Facebook group, almost 7,000 members. You can just search the Tarot Guild on Facebook. There's a page in a group. Like the page, join the group, so you can catch our live on Tuesday. Should be 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, I think. Or, no, that's noon, isn't it? I think it's noon and 3 p.m. that we're going to be on. Do you remember? I think it's noon.
I don't. Maybe it's noon. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I have it here on my calendar, 12 p.m. 12 p.m. my time. So that's, 2 o'clock your time?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we're going to be in the group and, just hanging out and chatting tarot with everybody. But one of the nice things, we always try to have a live where Mary and I get on before our last show of the month that we have the Psychic Spin, because during the live you can pop on and let us know your ideas. What would you like us to ask the tarot? Now, these are the big questions, not like your personal life, what's going on. Those kind of questions you can just call in the show and we'll pull some cards for you. But what are the big questions? How does the universe work, and the law of attraction, and are ghosts real? And, we just did, are we on the brink of World War III, for instance? Are the robots taking over?
Why are
that's
we
my
here?
favorite one. Why are we here? And we ask the tarot, believe it or not, you can ask tarot the big questions. You can. So, if you have anything burning, and, it could also be something from current events, something in the news, something everybody's talking about in the collective consciousness here, but the difference is, between us and the talking heads on, YouTube and television and radio and podcasts, we can pull tarot cards. So join us on Tuesday.
Yes, we have the advantage.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we don't get to your call today, remember you can call in on Sharona's show tomorrow. That's right. They're going to be doing free tarot readings. And also, right after Sharona's show, I think it's like about an hour later, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget, Gary Karp is going to be giving a free workshop to all of our premium members. You can join the premium membership. Just go over to thetarotguild.com, and you'll be able to join us. It's $1 a month, folks. We charge $12 for the year. It's $1 a month. It's incredible. What an incredible value, because you get all of these free workshops and other panel discussions and other exclusive events all year long for $1 a month. And just go over to thetarotguild.com, click on Join the Guild, and scroll down. You'll be able to join the membership, get your certificate, and there's a lot of other benefits. You can go check it out. But Gary's doing this workshop, how tarot readers can make a difference in the world. It sounds very interesting. I really didn't go into depth with him about it, Mary, so I'm curious to find out myself, how tarot readers can make a difference in the world and make money doing it. That's the caveat, and making money doing it. So I really want to check that out myself. I also am looking forward to hearing Sharona's show, because I'm really interested in, doing hypnosis, and I do a lot of guided meditations. I'm interested in what Chandra has to say, about meditations specifically for psychic development, because I think that's one area that is neglected in our sphere, is the psychic development aspect, so to speak. I mean, you naturally develop psychically, using the cards. You naturally develop psychically, you get intuition and stuff like that. But what about using guided meditations and, hypnosis and other things to develop psychically on purpose to help you out with your readings, for instance, or just to become more, clairvoyant, or go ahead.
Yeah, it's weird, because I feel like you're right that area has become neglected. I mean, for me, that was like what you started with, like back in the day. I mean, it was all about psychic development, doing a lot of exercises, working with, what we called ESP back then. Remember that? ESP? And people don't even use that anymore. They just, like, go right over it. And it's like, why, because I'll get, questions sometimes on my YouTube channel about a particular deck that, I did a review on and somebody's working with. I got one recently, and it's like, dude, this card doesn't answer my question. And I'm like, what are you expecting? Like, to happen? Like, to call you out by name and say something to you? And I was thinking about that just this week, that, like, a lot of people are not working on developing their psychic senses. It's strange. When it seems to me like that's where you start before you even start doing tarot. But anyway, times change.
Yeah. Well, we can bring it back. That's the way I'm looking at it here,
The Renaissance
I think
of psychic development.
Well, I think it'll help a lot of people. The other thing is that besides psychic development, it's also a matter of, probably the next biggest thing I hear from folks, especially beginners, is, that we can handle confidence, with guided meditation, hypnosis, EFT. So I think there's a need for that that's not being met in our realm here. Let's see. Okay. Who's been waiting the longest here? 714-816-4628. If you want to get in on the fun, we're going to take a few calls. I've got my Tarot Grand Lux here. I'm actually using the physical deck. I'm scared right now because I always use the digital deck. Oh my God. Let's see. It looks like area code 954 has been waiting the longest. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hi. My name is Sharon. I'm calling in from New York.
Hi, Sharon from New York.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Hello. How are you guys?
Doing great. Doing great. Have you been enjoying the show?
Oh, I've been loving the show. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I kind of dabble with tarot from time to time, but it's very interesting. And well, I was just wondering what you see in terms of relationship for me. If that's a question I can ask.
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Okay,
yep,
sure.
Yep. we're gonna do some shuffling here. I'm gonna be a little slower than normal because I don't normally use my physical deck on the radio. I usually just but I don't have it set up yet to do the digital here. Hang on just a second. I wanted to check into something. Gosh, what am I thinking of here? Okay. La 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 la. Oh, it looks like there is somebody that's. Oh, okay. There is somebody that's wanting to come in here. Ooh, the Page of Swords. Okay. So so this is somebody that's a thinker for sure. This person that is coming in here, this is a potential. Because it's swords, and that's the air element, they might be a Gemini, a Libra, or an Aquarius. So that's what you'd be on the lookout for. Now, they don't have to be. I mean, it could just be that they have those
qualities,
particular traits and qualities, But it could very well be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, coming in. Now, this person, it being a page, they could be chronologically younger than you. But they could also be your age and older, but they just have a very youthful outlook, on things. And it looks like this is, queued up to you may have already met this person, because I'm getting the Ace of Coins and, new beginnings, yay. But in the timing position, it's like that's happening really fast. That's like, 1 week, 1 day. I mean, it's not a lot of time. So you may have actually already met this person and just don't realize it. It's weird that it's a pentacle, though, the coins. And so I'm thinking that this might have something to do with surrounding your business or career or job or anything monetary. You could have just had your taxes done, and it was the tax guy. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
Right.
But that's the feeling that I get from this. Let's see what Mary's getting. You got any more insights, Mary? What are you getting?
Well, I got the Knight of Swords, so keeping with the swords energy.
There you go.
And somebody who is clever, and then so the rest of the cards are like talking about something else, though, and they're saying that. There's that funny saying that we have with the Knight of Swords, like he's rushing in. He looks like he's the fastest moving, on that horse who's just flying in. And what I have right at the center is the Seven of Pentacles. And that, to me, sometimes is a card of, like, needing to take our time, and not get bowled over, not rush into something. And then the Eight of Cups comes up, that there's a sense of, like, we got to let go of something. Like, we're talking about love life and relationships and stuff, and sometimes we've got to kind of make sure that we're ready, regardless of when somebody comes into our life. Are we ready for it? And the Ten of Cups is in the past position. So, and the Eight of Cups follows that. So, if there's any residual, kind of weight from a past relationship or, anything that is going to, you feel like colors your expectations of a new relationship.
Well, that's true. That's true, because I've just reconnected with an ex-boyfriend, and I haven't connected with him in over 30 years. So that's what I'm kind of, so that's why I'm sort of curious how that's gonna, play out in intuitively what you guys think.
Yeah, so, who he was and who you were back then at that time that you were together before. You gotta not let that like box you into an expectation of what it's going to be like or how it needs to be like, you know.
Right,
instead of
exactly.
like looking at each other like, oh, well, you've changed. You know, you didn't used to do this. You didn't used to like that. It's just like, well, you know, be in the moment with who you both are now, you know.
Right.
And allow it to become whatever it becomes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, you know, in the Grand Lux version, the Page of Swords, there's, I mean, a lot of birds, you know, and there's that aspect of, you know, freedom, okay? And I think, you know, at this point, he relishes that, and you do as well, you know, your ultimate freedom, you know. So, yeah, you don't want to box things in. You don't want to base things on how you guys were. You got to come at it, like, really fresh, you know, and you got that ace of coins that's, you know, new. You know, all the aces, you know, it's, like, new. You got to come at it like it's new. I agree with Mary.
Absolutely. That's exactly. No, I don't, you know, and what happened all those years ago is happened all those years ago. So, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm coming at it with a very different perspective and, you know, no expectations. And I was just curious how, you know, what you guys thought.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the call, Sharon. Hope it helped.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You too.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yeah, I think that's why I was getting that whole feeling of she already knows this person, even though it's new.
Oh.
You know, so it's not new in the sense of meeting a brand new person. It's a new chapter in this relationship. It makes so much sense. Let's see who's been waiting the longest. Go ahead, yeah.
Hi.
I don't remember.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Hold on just a second. Hold on, Mary. I'm going to put her back on hold. I'm sorry about that. I queued too quick. I wanted Mary to be able to finish. What were you saying, Mary?
I don't remember.
Oh, God. Now she... Okay, I'm so sorry about that. You know, the buttons are very on the studio are very sensitive, and I had my finger hovering over it to bring on the next caller, and it just connected, you know, and I was trying to let you finish what you were saying, you know. Anyway, okay, let's bring on the next caller, area code 630. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I haven't talked to you in a couple of years. My name's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
How you been?
Hi, isn't it good? How have you been?
This is fun. Where are you calling in from?
Illinois. Yeah,
Illinois.
I talked to you
Okay.
a couple of years ago, like before the virus. I was just thinking about you. It's just so weird. I was like, oh, well, I wonder when his show's going to be on again. It was always on, you know, usually around this time. So I'm really glad I was able to connect.
That's awesome. Ta-da. There must have been a reason. I popped in your head.
Yeah.
What do you got going on that you need answers to?
I wanted a reading from you. So what my situation is, I had a roof leak in my condo, and they patched it up as best they can, but it needs like wooden decking now at the bottom. So they had to leave it till the spring, like it happened like around November. They fixed it where, you know, they put the new roof shingles in also, you know, just to make sure it doesn't spread. And, you know, tarped it or whatever, did all the things they needed to do, but they have to finish it and do that last step, which is an all-day job. So I called the association, like, about the manager. She does everything about, like, you know, a couple weeks ago, and it still wasn't very bad weather. We had 50 degrees or less. It has to be 50 degrees or more and sunny. We've had, like, 3 sunny days last month. So anyways, I'm wondering what I should do, like just call back in a couple more weeks, because I don't want to call every week and bother her. But I really need this done, because then I have to wait for a few rains, and then I can get it repaired. They're paying for the ceiling, but the association, but
then I really want to move. I really feel like it's time to move, and I got to get this problem fixed first before I look, you know. And
yeah.
So what are you seeing with that? Because, I mean, I want to stay on good terms. You know, I did know her for like 20 years, but, you know, in another building, but I've got to stay on good terms and everything. And I don't want to, like, tattletale to the board right now or anything like that, because they're just going to say, talk to Mary. You know?
Anything on that, Mary?
Okay.
I mean, she said they would get it done when it's past 50 in the spring and that kind of thing, but it wasn't a set date. And I know the weather wasn't good, but now it's better.
Right. You know, it's really interesting. I do have a Four of Wands as far as, like, you know, what can we look at for, like, how much longer, you know? And the Eight of Swords comes up first with this. So, you know, the thing that really is, like, kind of getting to me is, like, I feel like the other card that comes up here is the Seven of Swords. So it's almost like maybe, and it's in the past, so maybe they weren't, either they didn't have, like, a good, you know, time to tell you, like, it'll be exactly when this will happen. So I feel like they kind of, you know, fudged it a little bit, but it seems to me that, you know, it's just going to be a little bit longer. The Four of Wands, I mean, if we look at the Wands energy, it comes up in the timing position. You know, people with the Wands, they think of, like, you know, which is faster, fire or air,
so
right?
So do you think I should just be really nice and check back, like, in a couple of weeks? Because I really don't want to, you know, get on bad terms with them.
Exactly. That's what I would do. But let's see what Dax is getting.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely give it some time because I don't see it resolving. Like Mary said, she got the timing on, you know, maybe 4 weeks. And then as far as moving, I'm getting 8 weeks. Okay. So
you mean you think I'd find something could actually, like 8 weeks after it was fixed?
Yeah, I mean, really fast, you know.
Okay. You know, it's funny you say 4 weeks.
It seems like a long time.
Too.
Yeah, it seems like a long time, but it really isn't. You know what I mean? And then I get the Six of Swords, and, you know, so you're definitely going to make it to your destination. You're going to have success there. 6 is that success number, and also hearth and home too. So, yeah, it's looking really good. I don't know if it's going to be all roses, so to speak. I feel like there's something going on in the background with the association, and I don't know what that is exactly. I got the Seven of Swords showing up. Yeah, and I feel like they might even try to wiggle out of something, or, you know, or delay. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, getting the first card I got was that Seven of Swords, and I was like, right away had a bad feeling about it, you know. But what Mary's getting, and then what I'm
in a month.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you, hon.
So you're saying you don't think they'll fix the roof and finish it off in the month when they got the proposal, and it has to be done?
No. You're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying that, because Mary already got that information, and it does look like that it's going to happen, and that you're going to be able to move in 8 weeks. You know, it's great. However,
do you think what's going on
something
with them is something like the association's like they never saved enough money, and they're just really like, I want to get out of this building. There's like a lot of things that need to be taken care of, and they just don't have the money. I think it's getting them really down because like they know they can't do anything. They're just trying to keep up with expenses. Do you think that's what it could be?
Right.
I really get that feeling. I've been there 8 years, and that it's really weighing on them. I mean, they're not bad people. You know what I mean? They try to be
Yeah. So what you do,
but they don't have any money.
What you do is give it that couple of weeks, okay, and then you hit them up, and then from that point on, you increase the frequency of contacting them until they get it done. You got to make your, they don't have the money to do all these different things. There's all these things to be done.
Oh, no, but they put in the budget. I saw the budget, but I saw it. They already put in for the 5,000, like 2,500 more.
So you're golden. So you're golden. Don't worry about it. But what I'm saying is that make sure that you are the priority. That's why this card is coming up, because otherwise, if you don't speak up, it's saying that you're going to be delayed and not hit that 4-week mark that you need to hit in order to move when you want to move. You're definitely going to move. You're definitely it's definitely going to happen. Okay, but you need I would give it a couple of weeks, but then after be nice. Give it a couple of weeks.
Right.
You're the one that used the phrase "be nice." Okay, give it that couple of weeks, but then after that, you've got to be, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, the grease.
So do you think if she still doesn't set a date, ask to speak with the board?
No, they've not set a date. No, they've not set a date. You've got to become the squeaky wheel. I'm sorry? I'm not understanding you, honey. I must not be understanding.
If she doesn't set in 2 weeks, let's say I call her and they still won't set a date, she doesn't set the date, then just say, well, I'll call back in another week, then I need to check and get this done, plus there's a little bit more leaking. And then just write a note and put it in writing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even wait that long. I mean, I'd be contacting them every other day if it was me. You've got to become the priority. This is what the cards are telling me, okay? And I can't make it any more clear than this, all right? You wait the 2 weeks, be nice, then hit them up, see if they'll set the date. If not, you're going to contact them. Look, there's more leaking. We got to get this done. I'm planning on moving. You might even throw that in. I don't know. But, you have to decide in your situation whether or not you want to reveal that information. Okay, that's up to you. But you just have to become the squeaky wheel. You've got to become a priority. So
and then they'll get it done. Do you know why they're not putting it to a priority? Because they have it in the budget. It's just that they don't care that much, and they have other things on their mind, or
no, they just have a lot going on. They just have a lot going on, and
and they won't be mad at you, right, for checking back.
They won't be mad at you. They just need you to move their focus there, because remember, they're focused on a dozen things. Whether it's in the budget or not, it's all there. It still all has to be done. So you have to focus their attention. See, they're not thinking right now. They're looking at 50 different things. Yeah. Okay, we got to run, Lisa. Thanks very much for the call.
Dax, can I just ask one more question? Do you think it's unusual? Can I ask this question? Because I feel like it's so weird. Like I feel so much in need, like that it's time to move. Do you think people can have those kind of feelings, and that it really is good that I need to act on it? Because I just can't see being in this building for years. They don't take care of it.
Yeah,
they're not bad.
Oh, you got to listen. You got to listen to your own intuition and your gut feeling on that, and it's telling you what to do. What you need to do.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm not going to waste my time being upset. Just do what you need to do, because it's not. I don't want to hurt my health.
Exactly. Right. Just, get it done and think of it as like, this is just something I have to get done, and I'm not going to invest my emotions in it, but I'm going to make sure it gets done.
And that's serious.
Hearing from me.
If you have more leaking, if you have more leaking and this is going on for months, and I am going to then say that I'm trying to move. I can't sell this place without this getting done, and I need to get this repaired, but mainly because of the leak. Be very, very, to the point. Okay.
Yeah, just the facts. Thanks for calling. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye.
Yep. Let's see. And who's been waiting the longest? It looks like area code 956 has been waiting the longest. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling in from?
Hi, my name's Tony, and I'm calling from Texas.
Tonya?
And thank you for taking my call. Tony.
Hey, you got a Texas call, Mary. Yeah.
Yay, another Texan. Yeehaw.
Is that a good thing?
What do you want to talk about? It's a great thing. I'm in Texas, too.
Oh, really? Nice.
I'm up in the,
nice.
Yeah, I'm way up in the panhandle.
I'm in San Antonio.
Oh, beautiful. I love San Antonio.
I love San Antonio.
Riverwalk, all
the
of that.
Riverwalk and all, oh my God.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
I'm San Antonio.
You're lucky. So what do you want us to look at today?
My work, my employment, my career, I could say.
Okay. And any particular, are you looking for something, or your current job issue, or?
Current job issue.
And what do you want to know?
What do you want to know?
I want to know if it's going to be, if it will be to my if it's going to, the outcome will be to my benefit, or if it's a waste of time.
Is it a waste of time to stay in that job, you mean? Or is it going to?
Yeah, to even complain or even bring up the issue.
Okay, so you're having an issue at work, and is it even worth it to say anything about it, right?
Yeah.
Is that going to be good for you to do or not? And, it's always a trick, right? Do we speak out? Do we leave it alone? What do we do about it? Well, I'm just getting the sense, really, that I don't really see a big benefit of speaking out about it. It feels like the situation is going to shift. And the Four of Pentacles and the Temperance card comes up. And to me, the Temperance card often, has to do with, like, being able to sort of, like, be centered, to kind of have a little patience with the situation. Four of Pentacles is like, okay, I'm just going to maintain my equilibrium here. And, it does seem like a very, it's like this situation is like sort of surprising and a little bit irritating at the same time. But it's almost like you're being asked to just kind of, let it just, like duck off, water off a duck's back. Just kind of like, okay, let that just go past, because it does look like the situ is going to change if it takes too long, if it gets worse, if it transforms in some way into, like, something even worse, then yeah, you need to speak up. But I feel like it's a little too early to that it may just pass. So, but let's see what Dax is getting. That's what I'm getting.
Oh yeah, I agree totally. Tony, I'm getting a lot of Queen cards here. It seems like there's you and other women involved in this.
Yes.
And you're
yes.
Yeah, and this is what hit me right away as soon as I looked at these cards, because so the Queen of Coins is you. That's that nurture energy. This is a very nurturing kind of person. You're almost too nice. And then one of the other Queen cards is the Queen of Wands. And the way it's depicted in the Grand Lux deck, I mean, she's got dragons on her shoulders, and literally, she's literally the dragon lady, okay? And I feel that, she's involved here somehow with this, and you're not going to ever get anywhere with the dragon lady, okay? It's not going to be to your benefit. Also, I'm getting a major arcana card, big life changes. I'm getting the Fool card, which is literally taking the leap of faith. It's new beginnings. It's, just going for it kind of thing. And what I'm feeling from this is I'm feeling that you intuitively already know, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that the ultimate better thing is you moving on at some point. And this card is confirming that and saying, yeah, you just need to go for it. So I wouldn't even try to do anything with the situation. I would be looking at my new horizons.
I have been. I'm not the type of person to let somebody push me out of my job just because they can shove you around. I just feel that, hey, you know what? This is going on, you can't be that naive and not realize that.
Sure.
That person is the one causing the issue. You cannot seriously be that naive.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they're not putting a stop to it.
Yep. I totally agree with you. I feel the exact same way. I would feel the same way in the same situation, but it's not coming up great in the cards. What's coming up is ultimately you never really you might make some progress, but you ultimately don't get past the Dragon Lady. Things are not ever going to be
like why is that?
Because of them. Because of them. That's the way they are. And I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not getting any psychic hits or nothing like that. It's not like I'm seeing it. I'm just telling you what's coming up in the cards. So it's something to do with them, with what's going on from their angle, their perspective. It's their personality, and I don't even know. I don't know if this is one of the supervisors or one of the people that's involved in the situation. I don't know which it is, but they're coming at it from a different perspective. They just see it differently, and they're the Dragon Lady. They're not, maybe in their own personal life they're not happy. I don't know, but they're just not going to be very cooperative in this particular situation.
Even if they address it to her or anything, she's still not going to back off.
I think the situation
I don't know that
shift.
Yeah, I think it'll shift.
But
but what do you think, Mary? I just feel like it's
I don't think
a waste of time ultimately.
Yeah, it's like a waste of time ultimately for you to kind of enter the fray, because I think she's already kind of set the course. Like, that kind of behavior is not going to endure, and you getting like more, into it isn't going to help you though at the moment. Like it's going to change without you having to do anything. Is what I wanted to say.
Would they ever even consider terminating her?
Look, the last card I got was a death card. So yeah, that's possible. Really, it can be endings, but it's a card of transformation too. So it just tells us. And I got the Ten of Swords too, saying like this is about as worse as it's going to get. So it's almost like what's going on now is kind of leading to that transformation. So for you to step into it with more and voice, use your voice and say whatever, is just going to like pull focus over to you, and you don't really need that, because this really is something that, she's kind of set in motion, that it's going to have a natural conclusion for her, whether that's her being let go or her, figuring out that like, okay, I got to approach this in a different way. Something's going to shift there. So you just got to kind of maintain your center, your equilibrium in the midst of that, because it's not a fun situation to be in.
No, it's two females, and it's like they're just driving me off the wall, and I try to keep calm. I actually, and that's why I was like, I'm just gonna start looking. HR is already aware of what's going on, but it's like you said, you know what? They're like, well, maybe. They're like, well, maybe we have an intermediate. Like, I feel like the same way. Like, it's a waste of time, because they already know how she is, and they're allowing it. So why? All it's like you said, all it's gonna do is get her more upset and continue with her actions.
And
so
you're moving on. Really, it doesn't make any sense. It really,
so it's
because you're talking about.
I want to go somewhere else. I like what I do. I get paid very well. It's going to be very difficult for me to find a position that pays me what they pay me here. But I'm at the point to tell them, you know what, you want to have this, but I could have this conversation with her. Okay, fine. But all it's going to do is put more wood to the fire. And at the end of the day, I mean, y'all are not turning it off.
Yeah, don't do that.
So why go there? I mean, y'all are not doing nothing.
Well, you're going to
ultimately
benefit. You're going to benefit more from focusing on your future and focusing on the positive and the goals and where you want to get to, rather than what's going on here. You know, this is past tense at this point. You know, it's we're just looking at what's going to benefit you. We don't care about the job or her. What we care about is you moving forward, you know, and you're going to get a lot more benefit out of focusing on the future and focusing on your goals and focusing on the positive than focusing on this negative stuff. You know, it's just ultimately better law of attraction alignment, you know. So that's what you should do. I hope that helps you out.
Yeah, it does.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, and thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. We're not going to be able to get all to the call to get all to all the calls today. So remember to tune in for Sharona's show.
Anymore.
What's that?
I said we can't even talk anymore at this point.
Oh, I know. I'm getting all tongue twisted and everything like that, you know. We got like 3 minutes of live streaming left, and I think this is Lisa calling in, area code 520. Is that you, Lisa?
Oh my God! Yes, bonus. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa. Oh. Yeah, we only got a couple of minutes left of live streaming, so we got to do this like super fast. But Mary, I thought maybe we can pull some cards real quick for Lisa.
Flooded.
What's your question?
I'm sorry.
What's your question, real quick?
Flooded. I'm in emergency shelter, and
I know.
I know. Do you see the insurance? And it's like an uphill swim, you know, with them just trying to get what I've gotten so far, even though I've paid through the nose for those coverage. Anyway, so do you see them allowing me to stay here beyond the end of April? Because I don't think the apartment's going to be done at, the 1st of May yet.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of great cards on this, though. It's
good.
It's like it's all four. It's like 4 out of 5 yeses. Yeah, it's going to work out. It's definitely going to work. You even got the World card. You can't get better than that. So like the main focus is the devil. Yeah. So it's the devil's in the details. So yeah, it's all this situation, and oh my God, the hangman shows up, showing that there's the delay, right? But ultimately you get to where you want to go here. The success card is coming up, 6, and the world. It's looking really good. I think you're going to be able to, carry on where you are until you're able to, get the apartment and, get back to the apartment or new apartment. I didn't quite catch all that, but, we're going fast here. Mary, what do you got for Lisa? Anything?
Great stuff. Yeah. 9 of Pentacles comes up. 3 of Pentacles, they're working on it. And we just have the 3 of Wands. So I feel like you're right. They're not going to hit that 1st of May time frame. If you can, 3 more weeks maybe, but I feel like, and just keep your focus in a positive state, for lack of a better way to put it.
Right.
Because this has been a big deal to go through. So you got to be gentle with yourself and just kind of start focusing on, how great it's going to be in the new place and put all this behind you.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Yeah, sorry that happened.
You. Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Lisa. Yeah, we got to run because we're going to go off air in 22 seconds. But thanks very much, Lisa. Nice chatting with you. We squeezed her in. Mary, we squeezed her in. Yay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
We got to get out of here. Good night.
We've got to go.
Good night, Mary Ellen. Bye, Mary.
Bye.